This week, we're digging into Lucio Fulci's gut-churning classic, Zombie. It's 1979, the dead are walking, and somehow we've ended up on the worst island vacation ever.
We're talking worms in the face zombies, the most painful splinter in horror history, and that unforgettable shark versus zombie fight.
So grab your bug spray and maybe a machete, because things are about to get messy.
This is Slashback Cinema, where the past is undead, and so are we.
Let's get into this, man. You recommended this movie. Had you ever seen it before?
No, but dude, that cover zombie VHS tape is like one of the most graphic, hardcore ones ever, and kind of scared the shit out of me when I was a kid years ago. Seeing it in the video store, I think the tagline in the American version was "We are going to eat you," and yeah, so I've never seen this. I knew about it. I knew it was pretty gruesome, and it had a real cult following, but I'd never seen anything. I didn't know any of the details, so this is a fresh go for me. How about you?
I'd never seen this movie. I'd never heard of it. Even like it has a couple of famous scenes that we'll definitely get into. I wasn't even aware of those. So I was coming in completely pure. And my jaw was on the floor in two moments in this movie that I just couldn't believe. At one point, I wrote in my notes, "This is undescribable." I don't even know how we're going to communicate what happens in this movie because some of these sequences are just wild.
Yeah,
But yeah.
no gore expenses spared with this one. I think I texted you, don't watch this one with the wife. So
Yeah, she's out of town, and so I was watching it alone, and I hate watching horror movies alone because it's especially late at night because I get creeped out, and then I hear noises, and then I start to freak myself out. But this movie, it wasn't super scary. I did not turn this movie off at the end and think, "Are there zombies in my house?" I
Right.
have seen other movies that actually left me unnerved, and I would not say this is an unnerving movie.
No, it's got such style foreboding. It's grisly. It's
Yeah.
gruesome. It really definitely has kind of this putrid factor to it, but
hmm
it's not one that you're like, oh my god, yeah, the zombie's coming out of the closet. I think that's like something about the zombie genre. Like, I've never been concerned as a kid that actual zombies were going to come and get me. There were definitely other things from horror movies that were going to come get me, but not
Right.
necessarily zombies. Yeah.
What other things were you afraid of? What things from horror movies got to you?
Oh man, I mean, like the supernatural shit, like
Y-
things lurking in the shadow, monsters, they all seemed a little bit, for whatever reason, zombies never seemed. I love the genre. I've always been
Mhm.
into comic books and the movies, but for whatever reason, it's horrific, but it's almost like this place you go to when you watch a zombie movie that's it's its own thing. But I'm not really worried about zombies happening in the real world. Although Serpent in the Rainbow definitely creeped me out back in the day. But
Right. This movie seems right up your alley because you love zombies, you love Italians, you love one specific Italian, and this movie has it all.
yeah, Italian horror might be my jam, man. I don't think
Mhm.
there's a single one we've served up on Slashback that I've walked away from disappointed that I've watched it. You know, Fulci, he really delivers the goods on this one. So, yeah, let's talk about the plot for this one. It kicks off with this sailboat comes to New York City. It's unmanned. They board it, and well, they go to investigate, and surprise, there's a zombie on the boat that proceeds to kill one of the police officers. And then they find out later that it's this woman, it's her father, his boat, and he's gone missing. So there's a reporter, this guy, Peter West, that gets involved, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Anyway, it winds up that they take a trip to this Caribbean island where her father was to figure out what's going on. And you come to find out that there's a little voodoo happening. There's a medical doctor down there, Dr. David Menard, who is trying to figure out what the source of these undead happenings are. And they all arrive on this island, and things go sideways from there as people start to come back to life as zombies.
It's Zombie Island.
Yeah. I know you're shocked to find out there's zombies in a movie that's called Zombie, but, plot twist.
Doesn't it have a bunch of other names too?
Oh my God. You know, a movie's good when I think it actually has like one, two, three, four, five. It's like 8 or 9 different names. It was
Go through
Zombie,
'em.
Zombie
Yeah.
2, Zombie the Dead Walk Among Us, Zombie Flesh Eaters, Voodoo. It keeps going. Like, my God.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, is these movies, we saw this with the other Italian movies we've seen. They're made for an international audience, and so I think they just dub them into multiple languages, and they will name them whatever I think the producers think will, like, get the most bang for the buck. So the reason it was called Zombie and Zombie 2, so it would seem like a sequel to, was it Dawn of the Dead that came out?
Night of the Living Dead, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it had
So
nothing to do with that movie, but they thought if they call it Zombie 2, it'll people might be tricked into thinking it's the sequel to that movie.
right. So the background, and it's so confusing because like there was that intersection of Return of the Living Dead also
Mhm,
with Night of the Living Dead, but digging into it, Night of the Living Dead, as it went to get released in Europe, it got recut by Dario Argento. He did the Goblin score, recut it, and it
mhm.
was called Zombie there. And then because of these loose copyright laws in Italy, you could position your film as a sequel to whatever that other movie was, and the Italians were like, "Oh, molto bene, good to go." Yeah. So Zombie 2 had nothing to do with Zombie or Night of the Living Dead.
So you wanna talk about favorite scenes first? I feel like there are 2 scenes that this movie is so famous for, that's all you need to talk about, but I'm curious if, there are some others that, pop out at you.
So
The
I'm
the
kind of
first
laughing
one.
because so many good scenes in this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it is like a feast of, I feel like this movie is not so much a story as it is a couple of good scenes that they strung together to make 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Really what it
One of
felt
the
like to me.
criticisms is Fulci wasn't really known as a master of plot or strong narrative. But before we get into scenes, I think one of the things that just stood out to me in this film is like, again, with the Italians, it's so much fucking style. Like the
Yeah.
soundtrack, the zombies, I just loved in this movie. Like
Yeah.
versus Dawn of the Dead and all those, which these felt like old musty corpses that had come up
Yeah.
from the ground and been brought back to life. Like the worms coming out of the eye, the makeup, the way they were done, you could just almost like feel the dust and smell these
Mhm.
zombies, and the way they moved I thought was kind of cool, like very slow and kind of like staggering. But then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they would strike, like sort of like an insect attack. Like suddenly
Right,
they
or
went to like,
Snake.
yeah,
Yeah.
snake, quick attacks. Really cool.
You're right. The look of these zombies, I mean, they kind of look like what you think zombies are supposed to look like, which is just like rotting corpses. But there's something weird about these particular like masks that these actors are wearing. They look like they are coming up out of the ground or something. There's a scene where that happens, and it looks like they've been buried for a while. And there's no CGI. This is 1979. So it's just, rubber and latex and makeup. But there's something weird about the way these zombies look. It really is unsettling.